Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to talk to you today about Ouija boards. Ouija boards have been around for centuries, long before the Judeo-Christian society was even thought of. Like all forms of divination, it is similar to tarot card readings. It is similar to scrying bowls and crystal balls used by gypsies. However, it is not just gypsies that use them. It is also witches, warlocks, wizards, any being that practices the magical arts, the mystics. But the highly feared thing that is out there is called the Ouija board. The Ouija board opens doorways. It transgresses all planes and all levels of existence. And it freaks a lot of people out. Now I'm going to give you a couple of stories on Ouija boards. Back in 1937, a female practitioner, a practicing witch, performed a Ouija board reading for a group of people. And because of the witchcraft art, or the witchcraft act, which meant anybody who practiced witchcraft would have been arrested and persecuted, all that stuff from the history of the burning times, otherwise known as the witch trials. So I'm not going to get into that. But she did a Ouija board reading for some people, and people were completely surprised because because of what she read and who she got in contact with during World War II, or the early stages of World War II. A ship full of sailors went down or was sunk by German U-boats, and the U.S. government did not disclose this to the public. They wanted all hands on deck, like everything's going good, they're going to be winning, yada, yada, yada. Which I get. It's called patriotism. And it is a very good thing. But because of this reading, word got out, and the United States government was embarrassed. They got caught with their pants down around their ankles. Literally. And they arrested her. But if it wasn't for Britain, she would have been persecuted. She would have been arrested. In fact, she was arrested. She would have been persecuted to the fullest extent of the law and most likely ended up being executed because of the Witchcraft Act. But soon after England stepped in, she was released, and the act was actually disbanded within the United States. Now, that was just one story. Another one is H.G. Haggart. This is a nun who wrote a book called Mechanics of Demonology. In her early college years, she and a bunch of her frat friends decided to perform a Ouija reading, or a Ouija board reading, rather. And because of this, she got taken over by a demonic entity. It was said that she had the strength of 10 men, and her eyes were glowing red. When she came out on the porch, after throwing people around and so forth, she didn't understand what was going on. She had no memory of it, no recollection whatsoever. So right here you have two different stories. Yes, she went on to become a nun and an author for the Catholic Church. Now, right there you have two very good stories. Back in the old days, witches and warlocks were highly sought after, but they were also highly feared. Okay? Yes, they were respected, but they were feared. In today's world, witches, warlocks, wizards, they're made into children's games. They're made into a Halloween costume party where children dress up as their favorite serial killers based off Hollywood films. With little girls, dress up as little cute, how should I put this? Witches, like something out of Wizard of Oz. Warlocks are seen as these evil, demonic beings serving Satan. Going around killing children, using their fat, the body fat to make flying potions, like the Warlock films. They're made into jokes, really. And that's because of Hollywood. But unlike them, the Ouija board, which disappeared for a couple of decades back in the 19th century, is finally back. But here's the thing. Like the image of a witch, Ouija boards have now become children's games. It has been brought down to look like this. You see, this is the Ouija board. It is called the Psychic Circle, as you can see. And it's got everything that it would need to contact a spirit. Interesting, isn't it? How something so feared can be made into a child's game for little children. However, to us serious practitioners, this is a power that is to be respected. It is not a game. A bishop who once was a pastor for a local church, I had the privilege of seeing a sermon by him one time. And when he was up on the pulpit doing his speech, his little sermon, he said, "This is the watchtower, and I am the guard on the watchtower." It is a responsibility. In the 9 satanic statements, Satan represents responsibility to the responsible instead of hypocritical self-deceit. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. You can make things into a game until something happens. But the thing is, ladies and gentlemen, is these aren't games. They're serious things. And I'm not laughing. Because as a magus, which is a high priest, a satanic high priest of the Order of the Black Thorn, it is my responsibility to educate people on the error of their ways. It is my responsibility to make sure that people are enlightened and educated on these topics. These are not games. They're real, and they can be dangerous to the amateur. H.D. Haggard was an amateur, and she paid the price for it. Now, the demonic entity that entered her could have stayed, or it didn't have the power to stay. Either way, she got off lucky. And so did her friends, because they used it as a game. They treated it as a game. The woman back in the 1937, she showed proper respect for the Ouija board and the spirits and the entities. And they gave her truth. And she revealed that truth. Yes, it could have ended her life. It could have ended up having her placed in prison and for the rest of her life. But all things worked out. So, when dealing with certain forms of divination, my advice is if you don't know what you're doing, don't do it. Okay? Until next time, hail Satan. Have a good day.